In the sun-baked sprawl of desert bloom estates just outside Reno, Nevada, where every cactus is supposed to stand at perfect attention and every rock formation follows HOA-approved patterns, one woman had turned community standards into her personal kingdom. But the day her clipboard-wielding enforcers showed up at my grandpa's door demanding he come with them for an imaginary landscaping crime, she had no idea she'd just handed the shovel to her own grave. My phone buzzed mid-briefing in the Denver field office, and Grandpa Harold's voice cracked like old desert clay. "Megan, there are men here from the HOA. They say I violated Section 14.3. They want me to come downtown with them right now. No warrant. No badges with numbers. Just 3 guys in matching polo shirts and fake authority, tapping flashlights like they were auditioning for a bad cop movie." I told him to lock the door, stay inside, and wait. Because I'm Special Agent Megan Myers, 32, 7 years chasing financial fraud for the FBI, and I know exactly what real power looks like when it wears a smile and quotes bylaws like scripture. By midnight, I was pulling into his driveway, the air still warm from the day's heat. Grandpa hugged me so tight I felt every one of his 78 years. The notice they'd shoved under the door was printed on cheap paper, no letterhead, just bold text claiming his xeriscape: rocks, native succulents, zero water waste, violated aesthetic harmony standards. Fine, $5,000. Deadline, 48 hours. Or else. I laughed out loud, the kind of laugh that tastes like gunpowder. They really think they can drag a retired Boeing engineer out of his own home for having the wrong kind of dirt. The next morning I marched straight to the HOA office, a little stucco building that smelled like air freshener and desperation. Patricia Ellison, 57, pearl necklace tight enough to double as a garrote, clipboard glued to her chest, greeted me with the smile of someone who'd never lost an argument in her life. "Miss Myers, we all want what's best for property values. Your grandfather's yard is an eyesore. The community has spoken." I pulled out my phone, hit record, and smiled right back. "Funny, Pat. Article 4.1 of your own covenants says enforcement must be by certified mailed notice, not random goons at the door. And Section 22.7 requires board approval before any fine over $500. You skipped both. Want me to read the rest out loud? Or should we call the real sheriff?" Her smile twitched. "Young lady, tone is everything. We're civilized here." But her eyes darted to the 2 compliance officers lurking by the coffee machine. Her nephew Derek and his buddy, both built like they lifted weights instead of following rules. I left with their license plate burned into my memory and a promise to myself. This Karen was about to get civilized. By afternoon I'd knocked on 20 doors. 4 other seniors had the same story: absurd fines for overgrown desert plants, non-compliant solar panels, even one guy cited for flying an American flag 2 inches too wide. Every payment went to a mysterious compliance fund that never showed up in public records. And every time someone pushed back, Patricia's boys showed up again, flashlight tapping, voice low. "Wouldn't want anything to happen to your peaceful retirement, would we?" Black humor of the highest order, terror dressed up as neighborly concern. That evening they came back to Grandpa's. 2 of them this time, Derek leading, blocking the porch steps. "Mr. Myers, time to resolve this. Get in the truck." I stepped out before Grandpa could answer, badge already in hand. "Special Agent Megan Myers, FBI. You're trespassing. And if you touch that door, I'll arrest you for impersonating authority under color of law. Nevada Statute 199.430. Look it up while you still can." Derek's smirk died. Patricia's voice crackled from his phone on speaker. "Just do your job." I leaned in. "Tell your aunt the job description doesn't include home invasion, Pat. Or did you forget to add that to the bylaws?" They backed off, but not before Derek muttered, "This isn't over." Oh, it was just beginning. I spent the next 2 days turning Grandpa's kitchen table into a war room. Public records showed Patricia had funneled over $180,000 in admin fees into a personal LLC called Bloom Elite Consulting, money that should have gone to streetlights and park benches. Her own backyard? A lush green lawn sucking up thousands of gallons a month in a drought zone, plus an unpermitted pool addition that violated every water conservation rule she preached. Hypocrisy so thick you could spread it on toast. I called in favors. My supervisor greenlit a quiet look at the financials. Local sheriffs detective I'd worked with before agreed to stand by. And I installed motion cameras everywhere, feeding straight to my phone. The trap was baited with Grandpa's non-compliant rocks. On the third night the cameras lit up at 2:17 a.m. 3 figures in dark clothes slipping toward the back door, crowbar glinting. Derek's distinctive limp gave him away. They were coming to place a lien notice, the hard way. Break in, scare the old man, maybe rough him up so he'd sign anything. I waited in the dark kitchen, service weapon ready, badge on my belt. When the doorframe splintered I stepped out, voice calm as winter. FBI. Hands where I can see them. You're under arrest for burglary, conspiracy, and violating your own precious Section 9.4. No unauthorized entry on private property, remember? Derek froze. The other two dropped the crowbar like it burned. Outside, sheriff's lights painted the street blue and red. Patricia's voice screamed from Derek's phone. What are you idiots doing? I picked it up. Enjoying the show, Pat? Because the whole neighborhood is about to watch you explain why your enforcement team just tried to kidnap a federal agent's grandfather. The community center meeting the next evening was standing room only. Seniors who'd been too scared to speak now filled every chair. I played the body cam footage on the big screen, Derek's face clear as day. Then I projected Patricia's bank transfers, her illegal pool, her own yard in open violation of the very drought rules she'd fined others for. Gasps turned to angry murmurs. Patricia stood at the podium, pearls trembling. This is a witch hunt. Article 12.5 says the president cannot be removed without a 2/3 vote and 30 days notice. I smiled sweetly. Actually, Pat, Emergency Provision 12.9 allows immediate removal for felony conduct. Burglary counts. And guess what? You never posted the required 30-day notice for your own pool addition. So by your rules you're already in violation. Motion to remove the president? Hands shot up. The vote took 43 seconds. Patricia Ellison was out, effective immediately. As sheriff's deputies cuffed her at the back door for embezzlement and conspiracy, she finally lost the smile. You have no idea what you've done, she hissed. I leaned close so only she could hear. I know exactly what I've done. I just enforced the rules. Your rules. The grand jury moved fast. 11 indictments. Patricia got 12 years, Derek 8, the rest between 3 and 6. Every stolen dollar was clawed back, plus interest. The new board rewrote the covenants in plain English. No more 6-figure admin fees. No more midnight visits. Grandpa's yard stayed exactly as it was, rocks and all. He even started a neighborhood watch for HOA overreach. 6 months later I sat on his porch watching the desert sunset paint the mountains gold. He handed me a cold lemonade. You know what the funniest part is? He said. She kept screaming about protecting property values. Turns out the only value she ever protected was her own. I clinked my glass against his. Karma's the best compliance officer there is. So tell me, true or false, the real power abuser in this story was the one who spent years screaming about rules, or the one who finally used those same rules to bury her? Drop your answer below. Because in the end, the tightest noose is always the one you tie yourself.